Well, the CEO of one of Australia's biggest gas companies has called out the government's lack of forward thinking when it comes to energy. Santos CEO Kevin Gallagher says Australia is in the midst of a, quote, anti-fossil fuels war with our energy security at risk. Joining me now is National Senator Matt Canavan. Matt, thanks for your time. Kevin Gallagher says we have two problems in this country, energy security and energy affordability. On energy security, he says, we can't turn the taps off on oil and gas before there are replacement technologies. Now, you and I both know that's true, but that's exactly what this government is doing.
Well, that's what they want to do. They say they're trying to do that. I mean, it's still the case that almost every evening and morning, around 80% of our power comes from coal and gas, and even across the full 24 hours, about 60% across the country, a bit higher here in Eastern Australia, comes from fossil fuels, comes from coal and gas. I mean, we just simply can't do without it, or to do without it would mean we would radically change how we live. We wouldn't be able to cool our homes, we wouldn't have constant electricity all the time, and some people are discovering how difficult that is during these storms. It's horrible for people. And guess what people do? And I know a few people have been without power for a long time, some more than a week since these storms. The first thing people do is to go and try and get as many petrol, diesel generators as they can,
right,
and get those lovely fossil fuels back powering their homes. And geez, they're relieved when that happens, and that's what the rest of the world wants. The rest of the world wants energy just like ourselves, and that's why demand for coal, for gas is going through the roof. Kevin Gallagher here is just speaking common sense. Unfortunately, that is in short supply. It's not very common among this government, and they're doing great harm to our own energy security, affordability, and ultimately our strength as a nation. If we can't supply our energy, we'll be a much weaker nation for it.
So that's energy supply. On the issue of energy affordability, or should I say unaffordability, here's the proof. We had energy retailers yesterday saying they need to hike power prices again, and this is the reason. They say we've rushed too quickly into solar. Can you just simply explain that for me and what's going on there?
Well, one of the problems here is we're not imposing all of the costs of renewable energy on the users or investors in that technology. So it sometimes can make quite rational sense for people to put solar panels on their roofs when they face a high average tariff across the day. The residential consumer only pays a single tariff no matter when they use their power. The problem now is that we've got so much solar in some states that the worth of that power is very, very low. In fact, sometimes prices are going negative, or very, very small or low prices. And that might seem like a good thing, but the problem is it is deterring investment across the rest of the day, because the coal-fired power stations, the gas-fired power stations can't make any money during the middle of the day. They've got to jack up their prices in the evening, and it's bringing forward the retirements of those power stations. So we've got a mismatch here between what the value of power is to the grid, to society, and what people are either paying for it or the benefit they're getting from it by producing at those times. There has been way too much solar encouraged by government subsidies, and now we have the absurd situation where the energy regulator has to step in many times any given season and effectively restrict the amount of renewables that are in the system to keep the grid stable.
Well, Matt, while coal is being demonised, we can't use it for much longer, it's bad, it's evil. I'll tell you someone who wants our coal desperately, and that's Ukraine. A month ago, the Ukrainian ambassador here in Australia asked our government to send coal to help them get through the winter. They're still waiting for a response. What on earth is going on there? I thought we were trying to help Ukraine, but apparently when it comes to coal, we're very, very slow. We haven't even replied yet.
Well, what is going on? We talk a big game, and the government talks a big game wanting to support Ukraine here. I was shocked to hear that it's been a month to get a response from us, and we're the world's largest coal exporter, or we vie with Indonesia for that mantle every other year. So we've got lots of resource to give here. This is the request from the Ukrainian government to ourselves. When that request came through to a previous Liberal national government, we acted. We organised some coal at the time. The Minister Keith Pitt helped organise a delivery of coal from Whitehaven from an Australian coal producer to help Ukraine. And if this request has come in, I think the Albanese government's got a lot of questions to answer here. Are they putting their own internal politics ahead of the global security of Eastern Europe and indeed the world here? Because look, we can have our arguments about where coal's going to be in 20 or 50 years and whether we need to transition, but clearly we need to help Ukraine now. And we need to put aside all these ridiculous ideological arguments around coal or gas and do what's necessary to help this state under attack, this democratic state under attack. So someone's got to ask the Albanese government, the Prime Minister here, what is going on? Why hasn't your government responded to Ukraine about this request, given the resources we have and the capabilities of the Australian government clearly to organise these deliveries, just as the previous government did?